came here to win, and I refuse to take moral victories as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. It wasn't good enough, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, you're supposed to be a division contender.
It's week 3.
You're supposed to be a playoff contender. Week 3. You have one of those expensive rosters in the league. Danny, are you ready to write off the Dolphins?
The better take is to say yes, that the season's over because of what the math says about 0-3 teams. 3 of their next 4 are Jets, Panthers, Browns. And they've got almost 2 full weeks before, because they play Thursday and then it's Monday against the Jets, a week from Monday. So they got a ton of rest before that game at home there. They'll probably lose to the Chargers, obviously. But 3 and 4 teams make the playoffs all the time. So the season is on life support. I do not think it is completely 100% over for this year. And as you said, if not for the roughing the punter and the mortifying interception, they easily could have beaten.
But the problem for the mortifying interception is that wasn't by your backup quarterback. That's by the guy who's going to be. And he had a similar interception that helped lose him the Patriot game.
Listen, I'm not a Tua guy by any stretch. Overwhelmingly likely here they are going to miss the playoffs and there's going to be big changes coming to Miami. What I would say, though, is I was actually pretty impressed with McDaniel last night. I thought his play calling, given the limitations of Tua, was impressive. Tua threw the ball 34 times last night. 12 of those passes were at or behind the line of scrimmage, and they were still moving. The guy can't throw the ball down the field. And so his ability to build an offense around such a limited quarterback, they gave him the extension last year. If I was running Miami, I would be looking to get rid of Chris Greer, their general manager, who's been there for 25 years, a GM for the last 9. He's the guy who took Tua over Justin Herbert, and I would be looking to move off of Tua as quickly as possible.
But you still believe in Mike McDaniel?
I am not convinced you can do better than Mike McDaniel.
Did you pick Miami to make the playoffs?
No, I thought they were going to miss the playoffs.
Okay.
I thought they were going to miss the playoffs. Here's the thing, man. When Tua plays, since 2023, they are the 6th-ranked scoring offense in football.
No, that's
and he's not the 6th best quarterback.
No, but that's a lot. Listen,
he's not the 6th best quarterback.
I understand that, but you're saying, is the season over or not? Not only do I think the season's over, I think the year is over. I think you got to start over.
That's most likely what's going to happen.
Well, it's not going to be easy to get rid of Tua.
I think unfortunately you have to. Tua likely has to be there one more year. Like contractually, after next year they could easily move on.
Yep.
Maybe this offseason they could trade him. But and then I'll give it to you, Brew. This is just a fundamental if we are looking at the 2025 Miami Dolphins being like, man, Mike McDaniel's doing a good job. He's not the offensive coordinator. He's the head coach. I believe Mike McDaniel can draw up really good offense and you know what I mean, and call good plays. We have no evidence that he's a good head coach, which is a different job. And
with his first 2 years they made the playoffs. Now I know they had won some games before he got there with Flores. I disagree with Dan. Like, they're done this season. Like, that's why I asked, did you have them making the playoffs?
I did not.
I think they're done this season. But I am with you in that I would not think about firing McDaniel anytime soon. I think, unless it just goes completely south and they're 1-7 or something like that, I'm keeping him the whole season. I don't know exactly what's going on inside that building, but this rest of this season, if I'm the management, I'm watching how he's handling the team. I'm watching how the players respond to him. Do they fight for him? Even if their chances of making the playoffs are slim, are they playing hard for him? Last night, with all the talk about him being on the hot seat, they went out there and gave it their all for him. I do think he's a great offensive mind. I think this is actually kind of sad because the start of his tenure was like, oh, my gosh, like this guy's really lighting it up. And I think, like you said, Nick, I'm not as down on Tua as you, but that was a huge mistake when you didn't have to do it. And so I think that has set them back. But Mike McDaniel, I want to see what he does the rest of this season because I think he can be a good coach.
And I think that it is very clear the parts of being a head coach that aren't the parts of being an offensive coordinator, Miami is lacking. The team, like the
discipline.
The discipline of being an NFL head coach is really important. Tyreek Hill does whatever the hell he wants. He can't get his team consistently on message. That article that I referenced yesterday, people being late or skipping meetings, that is a culture rot that comes from the place of, it would appear, and I think fear is overrated, but respect is important.
No, you can't. You got to set that standard from the get-go.
And so what is remarkable to me about it is I think people have almost memory hold how close the Dolphins appeared to be. In the 2023 season, going into week 17, they controlled their destiny for the 1 seed. They were going into a game against Baltimore that if they won it, they locked up the division and they had the tiebreaker for the 1 seed. They got beat 56-19. The next week, they played Buffalo to lock up the 2 seed and win the division, and they lose to Buffalo 21-14 in a game they had a 7-point lead in the fourth quarter, 14-7, and blew it. And since then, it has been catastrophe after catastrophe, and this is where I think Miami's in real trouble. Going into that 23 season and since then, they spent, Brew, like we are contending right now. We can show you all the big contracts they gave out, and right now, honestly, aside from Jalen Waddle, they'd love all those back. You know what I mean? They gave two. They gave
That's Chris Greer, man.
Right, I agree with you.
Yes.
But I also think Mike McDaniel signed off on Tua. And I said it at the time that I was going to grade Mike McDaniel on a curve because I didn't believe in Tua. But if they paid him, then he is giving him his stamp. And now we just have to grade him on, you have a franchise quarterback.
That also presupposes that Mike McDaniel had the say in it and was allowed to do it. I mean, he was one of the youngest head coaches when he got hired. He's in his 4th year as a head coach. He's got a 3-game losing streak this year, but still has a winning record as a head coach. He's lost 2 playoff games. One was the freezing game at Arrowhead.
But that's part on him.
But compared to what that, like, that is a hard place to win.
It was
when's the last time they had a consistent contending team?
And then the other playoff loss, they lost by 3 to Buffalo with Skylar Thompson in a shootout. 34-31. Like, again, most likely they will fire GM and coach because those 2 things happen together. But I'm just not convinced that the next coach is going to be able, like, that you would trust whoever the next quarterback is after Tua, that you're going to be able to hire a coach better than Mike McDaniel to get the most out of that quarterback.
And we have to move on to the Chiefs. I just think it is, I think a new age way of looking at football is that if you are a brilliant offensive mind, that's 90% of being a head coach. And when we look at the consistently successful head coaches, I just don't think that measures up. I think that if I were, let me add this and then we'll move on. Maybe Dolphins can't win. If Mike McDaniel gets fired and I'm running a team that needs a head coach, I don't look at Mike McDaniel's tenure in Miami and say, I want him to take over my program. Maybe if I had a well-run, you know what I mean? If like a coach retired, not fired, but everything oddly, like if Andy Reid retired.
Oh,
and it's
here
like,
we
hey,
go.
no, I'm saying that's a bad example, but I'm saying like something where everything is already running and you know what I mean? The culture has set itself. But if like the Panthers need a new head coach, that is not something that I'd be signing up for. All right, speaking of the Chiefs, they're in a must-win game, according to some, in MetLife Sunday night. Xavier Worthy, recovering from a shoulder injury, back on the practice field. Andy said we'll see if he plays. I think he's.
Was he a full go?
They haven't released. He was listed as limited and questionable officially. Last week he was doubtful and then out. Assuming he's playing, bro, what do you need to see from Mahomes and the Chiefs?
Quite simply, a win.
Yeah.
I mean, a win is that rights the ship because they haven't played. I mean, the defense was bad in week 1, but still, you lost to 2 very good teams. Those are understandable losses. You come and win this game, and that's what, look, they don't generally blow teams out these last few years. They have had a couple, but generally they don't blow teams out. So getting a good win against a desperate New York team in New York where the defense in New York is going to want to show something because they've been very disappointing. So if they just get a win, I'd be impressed. Look, Mahomes, I would love to see him be more accurate. I would love to see him, if Xavier's playing and you still got Hollywood Brown, obviously, throw the ball downfield more, stuff like that. But I'm serious. Just a win will give you a good amount of momentum going into Baltimore. And if you get that win, now you're 2-2 and everything is right.
I'm 100% with you. It doesn't matter if it's a baseball score. Win 3-2.
Yeah,
Win
really.
7-3, because I think the Chiefs have a lot of problems right now. They can't run the ball, they can't rush the passer, and their top 2 pass catchers are injured and have been out. So if you go 0-3, the historical trends say you're done. No one will say the Chiefs are done because they're going to be the team that we're going to give all of the benefit of the doubt to. But 1-2 is a hell of a lot better than 0-3 for anybody. So worthy, no worthy, whatever. They just have to go into New York at night and win. That's it.
So you guys are saying you don't mind if it's ugly.
You come on.
Hold on a
All
second.
right, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I'm here to tell you I think it's going to be ugly.
Oh.
So I have said this is the second worst I have felt about the Chiefs since Mahomes got there, which is the only time it was worse was coming off getting blown out in the Super Bowl, being 3-4, and the 3-4 stretch got blown out by Buffalo and then blown out by the Titans. That 8th game that year, they played the Joe Judge New York Giants, who were en route to being 4-13. And we were in the midst of our first ever, just like we have the annual tradition of Josh Allen's the greatest quarterback we've ever seen, that was our first ever. The league has solved Patrick Mahomes stretch. That was the too high safety.
Right, exactly.
And cover 2. And it was a week before the Packers and Jordan Love came to Arrowhead, and Jordan Love couldn't complete a pass, and the Chiefs barely beat him. And in that game, the Chiefs trailed in the 4th quarter and needed a Harrison Butker kick to win it, and Mahomes was not good. And he was in the midst of a 5-game stretch with 6 touchdowns, 6 picks. But they won, and they only lost one more time the rest of the year and found themselves in the AFC Championship game. So I do not think this is a style points weekend. No. I do think that, oddly, even with that analysis, I don't think they can lose. I think by hook or crook, they find a way to win, but I don't think this is the narrative on Monday is the Chiefs are fixed. I think the narrative on Monday is the Chiefs survived, and then next Sunday against Baltimore, we see if they're fixed. That's where I stand.
I love that you say all of that. It's like, but they can't lose.
They can't lose.
Well, it's the Chiefs.
They can't lose. Coming up next, a monster game from Caleb coming on Sunday? Question mark. But first, flashback to Friday's show in Kansas City.